Dr. Martin has a 3% benzocaine solution and a 40% benzocaine solution. His patient needs a 4 milliliter shot of 10% benzocaine. How much of the 3% and the 40% need to be mixed to get the solution for the injection? Now, the way we're going to work this is real simple, okay? First thing you need to write down is we have an unknown quantity of 3%. So we're going to say 3% of, I don't know, so I'm going to call it X, plus 40% of Y equals 10% of 4 milliliters. Now, what am I doing here? I'm saying 3% of an unknown quantity plus 40% of an unknown quantity equals 10% of 4 milliliters. And what I'm doing is, if you've got a 10% benzocaine solution, that means it's 10% benzocaine and say 90% water. What I'm looking at is the amount of benzocaine in this mix plus the amount of benzocaine in this mix better add up to 10% of the 4 milliliter injection, because that's what we need to inject into this person. So this side here, the right-hand side, is real easy. It's 10%, which is going to be 0.10 times 4. That's, ta-da, there's the right-hand side done. Here's the problem here. I have two variables. I can't have two variables. I need one variable. But here's what I know. If I want to end up with a 4 milliliter total solution, then this number and this number have to add up to 4 milliliters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this X. So 3% of X plus, now, instead of calling this Y, I know that that plus that have to add up to 4 milliliters. So I say, okay, fine. I'm going to say this is 40% times 4 minus X. 4 minus X. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say this is 3 milliliters. 4 minus 3 makes 1. So 3 milliliters plus 1 milliliters makes 4 milliliters. Okay? Now, once we've got the equation written, this is the hard part, is getting the equation written. Once the equation's written, we simply distribute or multiply, combine like terms, and solve for X. So here I get 0.03X plus 0.4 times 4 is 1.6, and then 0.4 times negative X is minus 0.4X, and that equals 0.1 times 4 is 0.4. Okay, so now, combine like terms and solve. Well, if I move this 1.6 over here, 0.4 minus 1.6 is going to be negative 1.2. And 0.03x minus 0.4x is going to be negative 0.37x. And now divide both sides by negative 0.37. And of course those will cancel and leave x. And negative 1.2 divided by negative 0.37 is 3.24. Now, this solution is useless unless you know what you're looking for. Now, in my original problem, where was X? X was the amount of 3% benzocaine. Okay? And what's the amount in this problem measured in? Very simply, milliliters. So this is 3.24 milliliters of 3% benzocaine. Okay? They asked how much of each solution needed to be mixed. Well, if the total is 4 milliliters and you need 3.24, then how much of the 40% do you need? Well, you just say 4 minus 3.24, and you get 0.76. So 0.76 milliliters of 40% benzocaine. Okay? So that much of that plus that much of that makes a 10% solution for an injection. And well, if you ever want to be a doctor or a nurse, I hope you know how to do this type of problem, because it's kind of important. At least if you're working on me, it is. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions, please come see me.